I guess welcome everybody. Got your coffee? Yeah, I prepared a few slides here. We can go through and talk about Mitacs and maybe figure out how it'll work. Looks like I think we have a smaller group here too, so feel free to come off mute and have a dialogue or ask questions. The presentation itself shouldn't take too long. I think probably in the ballpark of 15 or 20 minutes, depending on the number of questions that are asked. So yeah, feel free to interrupt and we can take questions or, go into a specific scenario on your end afterwards. Works. Cool. Well, it's nice to see everybody. I don't know how many of you are actually in Kingston or not, since we're all virtual here, but I know I was surprised that the weather is so cold this morning. I was hopeful it would be warm. So great. Can you all see my screen? Awesome. Yes, so my name is Mike and I am from Mitacs. I started at Mitacs about 10 months ago. And I work closely with researchers at Queen's and small businesses around Kingston to help support their innovation agenda. And first off, just so that you know where we're coming from, Mitacs is funded by federally and provincially, and we are funded so that we can help support startups, entrepreneurs, established business, multinationals, and support their innovation agenda through collaborative research projects. So we have been around for over 20 years now, and we're across Canada. We've engaged in almost 50,000 research projects at an individual level, and we are a national not-for-profit. And the idea and why we're funded is because we think that through these collaborative projects, we are able to bring economic and social benefits to Canadians and make Canada more competitive on the world stage. And the premise behind what we do is, simply that there are smart people at universities and colleges across Canada, and there are people with problems and are in need of solutions in businesses. And by connecting the two and bringing them together, we can help, solve those problems and make Canada a little bit more globally competitive. It's also great, from a student or a trainee or a researcher's perspective, because now they get this new insight into how their studies translate into the real world. It gives them valuable work experience. And from the company's perspective, they have a problem that they need to get solved, and they can find someone to work on it. And they can also start to establish a relationship with that person. So perhaps that they bring them on full time afterwards. That's something that often happens. It's almost always a win-win situation. So the things that Mitacs has at our disposal to help you out are first and foremost financial support. I think that's super important to say, is that we will help contribute to the funding for the project. And that funding goes towards the student stipends. The other thing that you get to do when you work with us is you can tap into our national research network. I think a lot of people are vaguely familiar that there's like pockets of really specialized expertise across the country. For example, Waterloo and the University of Toronto have famous architectural programs. So if you're thinking about designing or looking at a new novel space, perhaps those are the researchers that you want to connect with. And we have Mitacs people like me all across Canada that can help make those introductions. You might also, maybe you're in animal health sciences and you wanted to connect with veterinarians. Okay, so we can look at a few select vet schools across Canada and maybe try to find some talent there to connect with. So Canada's a big place. There's lots of pockets of different expertises that you're able to tap into, and we can help make those connections for you to learn what's available and how to move forward. So one of the key purposes of this talk today is just to make you aware that Mitacs exists, what we do, and then provide you with next steps. So the first major next step is say, hey, I listened to your pitch for 15 minutes about what Mitacs does, and I'm interested. It's okay, let's schedule a meeting and I can chat a little bit more about what you're doing and what you're working on and figure out a way that works for you to take advantage of the Mitacs programs to further your innovation and research agenda, or to help you find another talented person to join your company. So first and foremost, that's the takeaway. Hey, I'm interested in learning more about Mitacs. Let's schedule a conversation, and I can work with you to figure out how we can fit a Mitacs project into your company. We do this through a conversation, and I say, hey, what's your problem? What are you working on right now? And then we can figure out who the best pocket of researchers are to tackle your problem. So perhaps you have an idea about scoping out a validation study, and who should you look at? How much might it cost? What are the ballparks and how long it will take? We can figure that out and work together. So we have lots of different programs. If you check out our website, there's a ton of information there, and it's very overwhelming. We have our flagship programs right now are called Accelerate, Elevate, and BSI. And I don't actually want you to remember any of that. All I want you to remember is that you should talk to me, and I'll help pick the right program to suit the specific project that you have in mind. What is sort of notable, though, is that all of these projects are internship based. And the idea behind that is that there is a student, a researcher, maybe it's even somebody that has a doctoral degree that will be put on the project if it's successfully funded, and they'll be able to work on it. And it's an internship at the core. So this person is usually employed or paid a stipend by the university, and they execute on that specific research project. So that there is a person, there is this conduit that acts between you and the university working on the project. What's, I think, fantastic and separates Mitacs out from other programs that exist are international students are eligible. So this is a fantastic pool of people that you can now tap into and, get their expertise. We support students at all levels. So depending on the project scope, what you're looking for, is it an undergraduate student? Is it a college student? Or are you looking for a postdoctoral researcher that has a publication track record of 5 years? So again, we have to work together to figure out what the needs are and who you're looking for. And the other highlight is, regardless of which program you go to, Mitacs will support at least 50% of the project, and sometimes more depending on your specific context. So I've kept things a little bit vague in terms of projects, and it's sort of purposeful, but it's actually kind of a hindrance sometimes when we have these discussions, because really Mitacs can support anything at the university or colleges across Canada. Some of my colleagues like to say from astronomy to zoology. I have to be careful not to say astrology. I've done that one a few times, but pretty much anything that's happening at the university, Mitacs can tap into and help develop a project that's going to take your company from A to B, so improve your company in some capacity. So this might be a question about market strategy. So perhaps you are a distributor of safety equipment and you're looking at expanding from Kingston to Belleville or Brockville, and you're wondering what the market size is there, who are the customers that we need to target first. Okay, we can bring on a student that can help establish that. Perhaps you are looking at the operations of your company internally and you're thinking, okay, how can I deploy a technological solution? Maybe you're interested in a customer relationship management software. There's a whole bunch out there. What's the best for me? You can actually bring in a student to help evaluate and then implement whatever solution that might be. Perhaps you have a product or a service and you want to validate it. So you might be working on some sort of cream or ointment and you want to see what its effects might be. Okay, we can sort of talk about how to structure a project like that. And really what our bread and butter is creating new products and technological road mapping. So perhaps there is an idea that you have about creating a minimal viable product. We can certainly help there. We can improve on an existing platform or service that you offer by bringing on a student to audit it and to figure out how to make it a little bit better. And then lastly, this is sort of like a new thing that we've been really working on, is working with different policy aspects and auditing existing workflows, existing policies that you might have, and putting maybe an equitable lens on it. So are there equity deserving groups that need to be included in your in the products and services that you offer? This is an example of some of the projects that we've worked on historically. There are a whole bunch that we haven't worked on yet that we're able to, and there is even more that we've worked on that I don't have time to talk about even in the broadest of terms. So really the important message here is if there's something that's interested, or some project that you're working on, some problem that's bugging you, something that's keeping you up at night, reach out to me, and then we can have a conversation and see if there's something that fits. The other important bit of news to share is that currently we do have a small to medium-sized enterprise discount, and this discount is available for incorporated Canadian organizations that are eligible with less than 500 full-time employees. And the idea here is that instead of typically partners pay 50%, they only pay 25%. So if there was a 4-month project over the summer and you're looking at bringing on maybe an undergraduate student, we have a $10,000 unit that's available. And as the partner, if the project was funded and approved, your contribution amount would be 25% plus HST, so $2,500 plus tax. And an excellent leverage on your money to support a student. This specific discount is available until sometime in the middle of summer, and depending on the project that you have in mind, right now is a great time to set that groundwork for scoping it out. More research-based and specialized projects do take longer to find the correct student and the correct situation. So yeah, the best time to take advantage of this discount program is right now. So with that, that's the high-level overview of Mitacs. That's what we do and how we can help. And in terms of the next steps, it's really, I have this link here. I can send around the slides afterwards to the folks here. And you can click on that and you can enter and right into my calendar. You can book a meeting, or you can contact me in any of the other platforms listed on the web page.